On today's episode of Anime Afterthought Fire Force Season 2, Episode 18, The Holy Woman's Anguish. Now, in today's episode, you really have to feel for Iris and Shinra. I mean, especially the position that Iris is now currently in. Her entire purpose. The thing that she gave her mind, body, and soul to. Not to mention, one of only 2 survivors of the nunnery fire. Like, every friend, every girl she grew up with in that place literally burned to death on a path to become a sister, and now she is hit with this realization, this possibility that the evangelist is the creator, the founder of this religion. So of course there's going to be a lot of confliction in her character. Like, it just makes sense. I gave literally everything I had to become a sister, to support the members of the Fire Force, and to give the infernal souls being put to rest that last final prayer. Not only for them, but also the family members that are left behind in this human combustion wake. We see this doubt play out in the pre-opening segment when they're putting this infernal to rest, and the husband comes up and says, you know what, is that my wife? Is she at rest now? Will she go on to the heavenly soul? Like, you can tell that she had to put on this brave face in front of the person who literally just lost his wife. It's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking. And I'm so glad though that she has the support system of the 8th, specifically Shinra. Shinra has taken notice of Iris, and well, he can tell that there's just something off, and literally being the one to discover this giant revelation that the Holy Soul teachings could be based on, you know, lies, or at least the foundation, the scriptures that are taught were influenced by this deity type creature that wants the destruction of mankind. Of course there's going to be some confliction. That makes sense, but at least Shinra is picking up on this to the point where he can tell that she's forcing it too much. I mean, even in her daily duties of baptizing the Fire Force weapons, you know, in charge of putting infernals to rest, that duty has been neglected. She's putting on a brave face, a very funny face. We see her not only do the rock on, but also the cobra. Like, Captain Ovi has a lot of fucking influence on this team, and although he can tell that she's putting on this brave front, it doesn't stop him from perving out as he gets a glimpse of her milky white skin. God damn, that's an awesome muscle, but seriously, Sister Iris's skin. Oh. Honestly, I ship these two. I ship these two super hardcore. But it's not just him who notices this internal struggle. She can't even pray. Like, the head nun, the head sister, watching over as she's baptizing this weapons, can sense that something is amiss, something's on her mind, that her prayer is just off. But it's not just Iris that we need to worry about. There's also a lot going on with Shinra himself. He's been through a lot of shit as well. He's the one to discover the truth about the Amaterasu, not only linking with the first pillar, but the evangelist. I mean, gazing upon the only thing he can describe as, you know, godlike, yet knowing everything that's going on behind the scenes with the evangelist, the White Cloud, and the Holy Soul, he too is conflicted. But like I said, luckily there is a support system, specifically with the Fire Force soldiers, as while contemplating this, it just so happens that Lieutenant Lee comes by, and after everything he went through with Rekka and sacrificing his arm for Kirim and knowing about the rumors with, you know, the evangelist and the Holy Soul, he kind of re-inspires Shinra. I mean, it's not the foundation, it's the message. The Holy Soul, well, we worship the sun, and as long as the sun there and it provides, we'll still believe in it. Yes, you can tell that there's some confliction in himself too, but when it comes down to it, the message behind what they're trying to portray is really what matters. Of course, this is in much alignment Benimaru, Conroe, and the entire 7th Company. Hell, the whole city is in on this. And it really does solidify, you know, this, like, what the 8th actually is. It's a tight-knit family, and each one has a role to play. Iris is this little ray of sunshine there to not only help motivate the soldiers, but also, you know, give relief to those left in the wake of what they have to deal with. Now, it is kind of sad as they're here and they visit the graves of her fallen sisters, the ones that died at the nunnery. And yes, Hibana has very gaudy taste, but it does go to show you that these two two have been through some shit. I mean, a lot of people have been through some shit in this series. Like I said, you gotta feel for these two characters. But even to put like the cherry on top, the explanation point at the end of this sentence, it's all about making sure that Iris and Shinra have their resolve. And it just so happens during the end, the climax of this first half, the priest literally goes infernal, and the sister left there in the wake saying, you know, what good are our prayers doing? He was a devout man. He prayed every day, yet lo and behold, this is what God wants. It doesn't make any sense. So she's still questioning herself, yet Shinra helps her. Like, you know what? Like I said, you're our little ray of sunshine. You are the 8th sunflower. It seems this is the perfect thing to say at the moment, as we see at the end that she has her resolve, and even her praying spot on and stuff like that. Like, I do want to say my favorite part is how Shinra goes on to what Captain Obi told him, saying how the scariest part about this job is if you become accustomed to it. Like, we're literally killing people, and knowing you're there gives me just the smallest bit of relief, because this really is a fucked up occupation. But we have to remember, in the back of Shinra's mind is the fact that Iris is a dead ringer for the first pillar, the woman literally burning alive inside the Amaterasu, and just a simple glimpse of Iris is enough to like send shivers down his spine, even as he's giving her a piggyback ride, which is very cute. But yeah, like, you just really gotta feel for Shinra and Iris this episode. But once again, they're gonna have to be their own support system. It's really up to them. Now, of course, the last half of this episode is absolutely fucking hilarious. Assault, who is, you know, fucking OP monster, had a very particular week, especially when it comes to Tamaki and her lucky lechery. And let's just say, we've seen in the opening that he was trying to surpass his limits, and he assumed he had achieved that next state, an enlightened state. He's past all this. But when it comes face to face, going as far as even calling Tamaki out, a close-up panty shot was enough to derail him. Training number 2 at an actual, I believe it's a gentleman's club, Tamaki steps it up and decides to go birthday suit, leaving him speechless and down for the count once again. So with Assault assuming that it's, you know, the wholesomeness of Tamaki, he decides to just randomly be a pervert out peeping on chicks and girls and old women to get a general, I don't know, honestly, it's funny, it's hilarious, but then as they're gearing up for this final, you know, showdown, it stops. So I don't know. Are they gonna wrap this up? Knowing what you guys say about Fire Force, this is definitely in the fucking manga. This is definitely in the manga. So today's episode was, like I said, it's a very insightful look into specifically Iris and Shinra and what they're mentally going through and emotionally dealing with. They're really gonna have to step it up, because the 8th really is gonna have to be each other's support going forward, because the deeper we go in, the more that's gonna come to light, and I don't see it getting any better. Especially given next week's preview, where it looks like Maki is getting drafted. She's going back to the armed forces. Yeah, so are we potentially losing a member of the 8th? I don't see it that way. I think they're gonna fight to keep her, even though this dude, this towering dude that looks like a higher up in the army is God, he has an overbearing presence. Seems like a guy who wouldn't take no for an answer. Yeah, we're gonna have some heavy shit to deal with. Anyways, with all that being said, and more Fire Force around the corner, I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.